anything to do with bubbles. But if I were to talk about the bubbles and say, you know, well, how am I making the bubble? And, well, it's soapy water, and when you blow through it, there's air inside the bubble, and if I wave the bubble wand like this, you know, there's air inside the bubble, or you blow through it, you're exhaling, and air inside the bubble and all that. But what if I could put something else inside the bubble besides air? Well, what you have here is a good $5 can of butane refill, and what I've got going here now is not air inside the bubbles, but butane, huh? And of course, butane is a flammable gas, so flaming bubbles, pretty cool from the soap solution. Don't see flaming bubbles very often. Well, anyway, the story here, of course, is Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and the fiery furnace, and you know, you tell the story about how they didn't bow before Nebuchadnezzar, and Nebuchadnezzar heats up the furnace. So we're going to say this represents the fiery furnace, and Nebuchadnezzar says, heat the fiery furnace up, you know, 7 times hotter. And anyway, here's the secret to this. If you get your hand wet, so that it's like either wet with water or wet with the soapiness, then you can flame these bubbles right in your hand. So I got my hand nice and wet, and you can torch this thing up, and it looks pretty scary. My hand is actually insulated because it's all wet, and the bubbles burn up so fast. I mean, it's a little warm, but it burns up pretty fast. And if you practice this a little bit, you get the idea of waving your hand a little. It looks more dramatic, and it's not quite as hot either.
I think I made a mistake.
Tell the story how Nebuchadnezzar, in his rage, had the fiery furnace heated up 7 times hotter, and he threw in the first Hebrew boy, Shadrach, and then he heated up, the fire was heated up again, and the second Hebrew child was thrown into the fiery furnace, and the other one was, and then of course, the moral of the story here is that even though Nebuchadnezzar calls him out of the furnace, and says they didn't even smell of smoke, not a hair on their head was singed, and so it kind of appears as you were completely unscathed and not harmed at all by the flaming bubbles, and kind of symbolizes, you know, the protection that God gave to the 3 Hebrew boys in the fiery furnace. All right, I'm wondering if somebody wants to come